Yeah, hi gang. Your old friend Cherikota, Boer War correspondent. The onset of the cold weather where I live, we're hitting the open fire, going out collecting firewood these days. So that's very cosy. The season of AFL footy's back. I enjoy a cosy night at home with a good movie, maybe the football, a nice home-cooked meal with my partner Brian, and life's good. But you might be wondering sort of what's going on with the channel. Lately we've been concentrating a bit on my memories and my, reminiscing about coming back to Australia 50 years ago. Last episode we caught up with my old schoolmate Simon, and so you'd be kind of aware, I guess you'd be correct if you're thinking that 125 years down the track there's not much Boer War stuff around where I live to research and to dig into. There probably is, but I don't know where to go for it. I've done most of the monuments in Victoria, New South Wales. I had a great time going up to Tenterfield, catching up with Major Thomas, the Breaker Morant story, up through Gunnedah, Mudgee. That was a great trip with my swag. I also went over to South Australia. It was a year ago now. I did Burra, where they filmed Breaker Morant. But yeah, it's getting a bit hard around to find stories Boer War related. But I'm going to Tasmania next month, so I'm going to be following up those guys from Bisdee and Wiley, the two Tasmanians, the Tasmanian Imperial Bushmen that won the Victoria Crosses at Bella Bella. You can see that on my channel. There's an episode called The Terror of the Tasmanians, if you want to prepare yourself for the Tasmanian trip where I'm going to get on the ferry with my car. And yeah, that'd be good. Now, just as a side note, I did a little while ago, I watched a couple called the Dust Bugs on YouTube, and they were travelling through places I went to 3 years ago. One of them was called Waterval Onder, and I bought this, it's a resin baboon. We went to a little shop at Waterval Onder, just near the Kruger House, and I bought this baboon. And I didn't really know what it was made from, actually, but the Dust Bugs did an episode. They went into the same craft shop that I did, and the fella that runs it, it's fascinating. He used to live in Tonga or the Fiji Islands or something, but yeah, I found out it was made of resin just from their episode. But I was telling my partner about this, and he says, so when are you going back? So, and I've actually made I've added Roodeval, the Battle of Roodeval, to places to see next time. I'm still in contact with my tour guide, particularly Tony, who lives in Bloemfontein. I had a great time with Tony. You can see some of those episodes if you want to go back. But Tony and I, we went down through, I think it was Colesberg. We tried to find a bit about Major Eddie, the Victorian killed at the Battle of Pink Hills. We went to Australia Hill, which was fascinating. We did lots of good stuff. Me and Tony went to the Boer Museum in Bloemfontein, which was fantastic. So yeah, you never know. My superannuation, that's what Australians put their money into while they've been working. I worked in IT for quite a few decades, so I got a bit of super put aside I didn't even know about, but we dug it up. Brian's good with money, so we dug up my super. It took a hit because of that fat orange idiot in Washington or New York, wherever he lives, Florida. I lost quite a lot of money in one day, but as far as I view it, it's money that I never even really knew about, to be honest. When I was drinking and drugging, I was too lazy to even put in tax returns, but I don't do any of that anymore, so my life has improved immeasurably. So yeah, you never know. I reckon give us a bit of time. I'll see if I can get back and we'll do a chapter 2 on Boer War stuff over there. But I am making a list of things I'd like to see. The other guide, Alan, I think his name was, he showed me around Gauteng. We went across to, the west of the old Transvaal, the Mafeking, Rustenburg area. He showed me some really great stuff. We did sort of day trips, and we also did the weekend, which was the Waterfalonda weekend, which I just mentioned that the Dustbugs also went through. I don't know what's happened to Alan. He used to put out monthly Boer War sort of new magazines online about things he'd experienced, things he'd researched. He actually went up through north through the Limpopo to do the weekend I did on the Breaker Morant and the Bushveld Carboneer story. Once again, there you can find those episodes where Charles showed me around Louis Tricard and around that area where the Carboneers operated. Petersburg, I think it is. But anyway, so just to let you know what's going to come up next, and look, I know I'm just an average person, I'm nothing special, but you got to start finding stuff to make episodes of. And I was always one for being interested in people's biographies, so maybe some of you are vaguely interested in my life, and if so, thanks for showing some interest, and maybe you get a chuckle out of it. And maybe you're seeing parts of the world and hearing someone's story. We've all got a story, haven't we? We've all got a fascinating story. So anyway, it's my mum's 100th birthday this year. I think she was born in August 1926. So she would have turned 100. She didn't. She died quite young. She died at 46, and she's buried in Brakpan in South Africa. I went back to the grave when I was over there. I hadn't been for, I don't know, 30 years or something. Hadn't seen her grave, so she died quite young. But one of the things I got interested in at one stage was I was going to do like a special on her. I started interviewing her surviving sisters-in-law. I went and saw Auntie Jean. I went and saw Auntie Lorraine. I also went and spoke to her favourite nephew, my cousin Leo. And we got a few stories of Mum. She's a St Kilda girl. If you're not from Melbourne, St Kilda's down by the Port Phillip Bay. It was always a very artistic, bohemian sort of bayside suburb, very popular even today. So I was given a few years ago by a friend of the family. She came to see me in hospital, actually, about 5 or 6 years ago. I was in hospital. And this friend came and saw me. She gave me this printout of all the... She'd been on Ancestry.com, so she found all the places that Mum's parents had lived, or her family had lived, and some of those were in St Kilda. So I've worked out kind of where Mum lived in St Kilda, which labelled her as a St Kilda girl. She always followed St Kilda Football Club, and I always remember her as being a St Kilda girl. Certainly her sister-in-law Lorraine is real dyed in the red, black and white socks of St Kilda, her heritage and all that. So yeah, I've got a list of some places to see in St Kilda that are related to Mum, where she might have lived and grown up. And also my mum married a fella called Michael Coke before she married my dad. So I found on Ancestry.com a couple of places I've never been to. I know nothing about them. But she must have lived with Peter when they first got married. And that's in Albert Park. And we'll also pop around and see where the Cokes lived, where her first husband, Peter Coke, and his family lived. So they all hung out together. We're going to go to the old site where the St Moritz ice skating rink used to be. That's where Mum met Peter Coke, and where her brothers who'd been in the Pacific fighting the Japanese, that's where they all hung out, all those Walsh kids and the Cokes and their friends and buddies. They went ice skating on Saturdays and they hung out. So we're going to go and see the old St Moritz. It's not there anymore, but we'll see where it was. And actually there'll be snippets of memories from the interviews I did about my mum. You've got to remember, I lost my mum when I was 10 years old, so I really don't know a lot about her, only what I've picked up from my siblings and from asking around, but I don't really remember a lot about her. So this is an attempt for me to get out of the house. Our state premier has very generously put on free train transport for the month of April. So I'm going to get the train down to St Kilda. When I get down there, some of the distances are a little bit, I'm going to see if I can hire one of those e-scooters, you know. I'm going to see if I can ride an e-scooter from St Kilda out to Albert Park, which would be about, I don't know, about a 40-minute walk. I'll see if I can do it on the scooter. So that should be quite an adventure. So that's kind of what's happening, and once again, I know these are just personal stories, and they may interest you or they may not, but you might get a kick out of watching them, because I get a kick out of doing them. So if you're new to the channel, yeah, I'm glad you stumbled upon us. We're a small community. Mainly I like doing Boer War stories, Boer War monuments, with a view to going back to the Boer War. I did contact the school in Tasmania where those two VC recipients went, attended school near Hobart. I offered to go and take the footage that I got of their VC where they won the VC. I offered to take it over to the students, give the students a bit of a talk on the Boer War and where the Tasmanians won their VCs, but you know, in today's age, they didn't bother to reply. I rang once and left a message for the history department, and they never bothered to ring back. So we'll pop in when we're over there in Hobart, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So thanks for listening, thanks for hearing me out, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.